Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we doing, DYF Bets family? Man, I love it today. I love it today. We've got a top 10 matchup between Florida and Tennessee. We've got a top 25 showdown with Michigan and UCLA. And then we've got a loaded college basketball slate today, guys, okay? On the way, over 30 games. A lot of games are really pick'ems. So a lot of opportunities for us to make money. This is the free three. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video on where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day. I will just try to get to the bag together and make that money. Do appreciate you guys for tapping in every single day here to the free three. We've been trying to change it up a little bit this year by going on stream on Twitch. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitch at Noble Living and then also here on YouTube at DYF Bets. I greatly appreciate all the love that you guys have been showing because we've been on a tear. We've been hitting some bets to start the year. And I know sometimes it's not pretty. I know sometimes it's not sweet to just take moneyline parlays. And I know sometimes we want to go for the Hail Marys or we want to just take individual bets. But guys, if it's building the bankroll, if it's making us money, there's no reason to go away from it, all right? Good morning, Anthony. Good to see you, bro. Man, you know what? I appreciate this a lot, bro. I appreciate this comment. You said, let's go, bro. One of my favorite live shows all through the week. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. My goal is to keep elevating the channel, figuring out more ways to make this more interactive. I'm actually getting some new streaming software as well, so like it can stop timing out and stuff. Just working out all the kinks, man. So I appreciate all the love, Anthony, man. Greatly appreciate it. Good morning to you, Nick. Good morning, man. You've been a follower from day one around here, bro. I appreciate you, man. A lot of love you always show. And Light Bearer, top of the morning to you, brother. Top of the morning to you. Let's get into these bets for today. Let's keep it real short and sweet today. My goal is to get done by about 9:30 because originally the show was like only about 10-15 minutes, but since I've been going on stream, I've been going a little bit longer for about 25-30. I enjoy talking bets, but sometimes I know I can ramble. I get to yapping, so I don't want to bore you guys too much, all right? This slate, guys, I'm horny for this slate. Pause. Like, I know we got some fellas in here, but this slate right now, my friends, is beautiful. Now, let's do a quick recap from yesterday real fast before we talk about this slate, all right? So let's go pull up Action Network real fast here, my friends. I'm going to update our record officially here because Action, they're a little bit weird about how they track the plays, right? So let's look at what we did yesterday here on the channel. If you guys were tapping in, we took TCU under 54.5. No sweat bet of the day. Houston's defense, no joke. We cashed in on that. This is our week performance, guys, just for the record here on Action, all right? We cashed in on our mid-major parlay of the day. I told you guys to take it two ways. Take the three teams right here at plus 102 and then add the Knicks in there. And that's why I told you guys to do that. Because the Knicks, okay, let me just go on a quick rant real quick. I took the Orlando Magic on Sunday in a money line parlay at minus 400, and they sold me. They were playing the Utah Jazz at home, and they sold me. So I was like, okay, back-to-back, second night, they travel on the road to New York. Obviously, New York's a great team. We don't know Karl Anthony Towns isn't playing. He doesn't play, and the Knicks lose as minus 600 favorites. I only put one unit here down for us on the channel. You don't even want to know how much money I lost personally in my personal account. I was hurt. And I doubled down by grabbing the Knicks live on the money line and at plus 8.5. So you guys know for me, like, it was a rough loss with the Knicks. The over 156.5. That one hurt. Why? Because Wisconsin did what I expected Wisconsin to do. They scored their points. Rutgers, on the other hand, Ace Bailey couldn't hit a damn shot. He was like 3 of 20. And then Dylan Harper didn't play the second half because he's been sick. He missed the last game with an illness. He played yesterday for the first half. He looked terrible. He only shot the ball twice. So the two best players for Rutgers didn't even hoop. And we almost had a shot. You can't handicap that. So that's a tough loss. Shout out to, man, this was a sweat. This NBA sweat, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how many more NBA moneyline parlays I'm going to be doing because this shit right here was a sweat. It took double overtime for us to cash in on the Kings, and I thought that bet was cooked. I went to bed. I woke up this morning and I looked at it because I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. I looked at it and I was like, damn, we hit. I was so excited because Detroit was a sweat. You could have grabbed them live to hedge. That's what I did. But then Sacramento, we needed that. We got it done in double overtime. And I don't know why they counted this as a loss considering the fact that De'Aaron Fox didn't play and Joel Embiid didn't play. So the community lay that we put together real quickly yesterday, we put together Minnesota minus 130, that cash. Kawhi at plus 151. I told you guys this was the sleeper bet of the day. Plus 151. Kawhi Leonard over 2 3-pointers. He hit that in the first half. And then Wemby, I took 3+3s. We could have took a 3.5 as well. That would have cashed. So this bet actually hit. So I'm going to update this here because this was void and this was void. So I don't know why that wasn't included in there for yesterday. So that's how we were able to do yesterday here on the channel, guys. So a great day here on the channel. Not too bad. Not too shabby, and let us get into the board for today. Let's keep the momentum going because you're only as good as your last winner. So for us, we're not resting on our laurels. Let's continue to grow the bankroll. Let's run it back today. A loaded CBB slate that we have. A lot of great teams that we're playing with today. I know you guys like NBA. I know you guys like some of the professional teams. It's just hard for me to bet that right now at this time of day. It's 9:15 where I am in the morning, and we don't have the information and news. If I knew Joel Embiid was playing, do you think I would have put him in the play? No. Do you think I would have taken De'Aaron Fox if I knew he wasn't playing? No. You think I would have taken the Kings on the money line? Somebody tweeted me, shout out to Justin, he tweeted me, and he said, do you still like the Kings today? And I said, I still do because it was more of a fate of the Heat than it was a plan on the Kings, and even though no De'Aaron Fox, they were able to get it done. But why did we need to sweat out 2 overtimes then? We really should have lost the bet in all honesty because the Heat blew the game. But luck can be on our side sometimes, right? So let's look at this college basketball slate today, guys. 3 quick winners I'm going to give you guys, maybe 4, and then we'll do like 1 long shot lay, and then NBA I'll add to on Twitter. Follow me on X right there. You'll see it at Noble Living for the added plays, all right? Let's go through the board real quick. A lot of pick'ems. So it's not a lot of money line parlay opportunities. Why? Because, I mean, we could build up a lotto like a hardwood haymaker, but overall, when you have short spreads at -1.5, -1.5, -2, I typically just take the spread rather than just, like, I like to take the money line parlays when it's like -5.5, -6.5. Why? Because it's conference time. So teams could cover and, could win and not cover, right? So that's why I've really recently have just been doing like the money line parlays with teams at -5.5, -6.5, -7.5. We don't have a lot of those today. So a lot of these plays are just going to be straight up. Let's just take it. Let's just grab the outright win and let's go on about our business. All right. Good to see you this morning, Just. Good to see you this morning, fam. How about them Kings, man? Sweaty ass bet, but we get it done, man. We get it done. So let's get into this board real quick. I know you guys want to talk about Tennessee and Florida. I know you want to talk about it. It's the marquee matchup of the day. Number 1 team against the number 8 team in the country. Let's go to Ken Palm real quickly, and let's see what we're looking at here. Now, Ken Palm is not the end-all, be-all. I want you guys to know that. I don't use Ken Palm as like, Ken Palm says it's a win, I'm taking them. I use Ken Palm as more of an assist to the analysis. And I tweeted out yesterday that if you're handicapping college basketball, right? I think I put out this tweet yesterday. Real quickly, let me see if I can find it on my profile real fast. I mentioned, where we at? If you're going to bet CBB, I implore you to actually watch some of these teams. And okay, you're going to need an ESPN Plus subscription. At this point, we have to pay for 5,000 subscriptions. Let's just be honest, okay? But Rutgers, Ohio State, and Wichita State were the sucker bets of the day. And it was obvious if you watch CBB. And I think today we're going to have some sucker plays if you've watched some of these teams. The first one being Arizona and West Virginia. If you've watched West Virginia this year, they're 11-2. Great. If you've watched Arizona this year, they're 8-5. Arizona on paper is not that good of a team, right? When you look at 8-5. But when you dive into the numbers a little bit deeper, guys, West Virginia has played a very, very weak schedule, okay? They were able to get a lot of clout early because of this non-conference schedule here that this was a tournament that they played in the Battle for Atlantis. They were able to beat Gonzaga in overtime. They lost to Louisville in overtime, and then they beat Arizona in overtime. So a lot of people have been hype on West Virginia, rightfully so. I mean, they've won, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row. But if you watch West Virginia, this game against Kansas, they had like a 20-point lead in this game, and they blew it, right? If you watch this game against, what was the game? The game against Georgetown, Georgetown was in that game. Even though they won that game by 13 points, Georgetown was competitive in this game. And this is a West Virginia team that's very banged up right now. We got to remember, Darian DeFries was the former head coach of Drake. He moved from Drake to West Virginia this year. He brought over his son, Tucker DeFries, with him, right? But, which was the former, whatever conference Drake is in, A10 or whatever conference they're in, right? He was the former conference player of the year. But he's missed the last several games with an injury. So, he might not play today, right? That's on the injury list. Who else is on the injury list for West Virginia? I could pull it up right here, right? Look at this. Reinforcements on the year. You got to do this research, guys. You got to do this research. Darian DeVries is one who doesn't like to reveal much when it comes to injuries. He likes to keep the bare minimum, but look who they're missing. Jaden Stone, Tucker DeVries, and Amani Harsberry. So let's go real quick. Major contributor, significant contributor. You see that? Two of their main three guys. Who's the other guy? Jaden Stone. Where's he at? He's not even here, right? Two of the main three guys is going to be out for this game. And it's a revenge spot for Arizona because they lost to West Virginia in overtime in this tournament. And that was a non-conference game because this happened before Arizona joined the Big 12. So now Arizona's traveling on the road after picking up a true road win against a very good Cincinnati team, 7th in defensive efficiency, Cincinnati. Arizona won that game by 5 and covered the spread because they were underdogs in that game, right? They played a strong non-conference against UCLA, Duke, Wisconsin. Even though they didn't win some of these games, it still builds them up for this situation. And understand, Tommy Lloyd's one of those coaches that hits the transfer portal very, very hard. If you don't believe me, like, go right here. Toby Awaka, he was at Tennessee last year. You see that? Let's go Henry Vassar. He was on Arizona last year. Jaden Bradley. He was on Alabama 2 years ago. Trey Townsend, he was at Oakland last year. He was one of Oakland's best players there in whatever conference Oakland's in, right? So it's going to take time when you have transfers to get used to each other, to understand how they play. So because of that, later on in the season, we're going to get value on some of these teams that lost earlier in the year. Arizona is the better team here. Revenge spot. West Virginia, tough spot. I think they're a little bit overrated right now. KenPom has this as a loss for Arizona. 72-71 loss for Arizona. But when you look at the head-to-head, 18th in offensive efficiency, right? Compared to 15th in defensive efficiency for West Virginia, but we just saw them beat a Cincinnati team on the road that was top 10 in defensive efficiency. Meanwhile, West Virginia is 77th offensively, but Arizona's 27th defensively. So Arizona is stronger defensively than West Virginia is stronger offensively. I like Arizona in this spot. We're going to lock this in as our first best bet of the day. Arizona, we're taking them on the spread. If you want to take them on the money line, be my guest. But 3.5 points is not too much for us to lay. So we're going to go, or 2.5, even now is even beautiful. Arizona minus 2.5, minus 105 odds for 1 unit down. That is our first best bet of the day. Now back to the Florida-Tennessee game. The reason why I want to talk about that first is because this is one of those situational spots, where KenPom has the team losing that I think is going to win. Same thing here. Tennessee, Florida is supposed to lose to Tennessee here. I think Florida wins. I'm being honest. They lose on the road at Kentucky, drop 100 points in a conference game to Kentucky in one of the toughest places to play. And now they get to travel home against Tennessee. I get it. Tennessee, number 2 defense in all of college basketball. They haven't lost a game this year, 14-0. But the books have this as a 3.5 point spread. The books have it as you look at the line movement, open at plus 1.5, now it's at 2.5. Every single sharp, look at this, that I'm seeing on Twitter, that I'm seeing on Instagram, that I'm seeing on Telegram, everybody has Florida here. That makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. But I do think that Florida is a great team. I do think the Swamp is a tough place to play. But I'm going to take a different angle to this. Let's go to team rankings real quickly here. Let's go to the stats, and let's go to scoring. Let's go to points per game. Let's Florida, 4th, 88 points per game. They just dropped 100 in Kentucky in a conference game. I get it. Tennessee's always going to have a top scoring defense. They're like Houston. They don't give up a lot of points. But this team total, over 75.5, I don't know. It's a little high. It's a little high. Considering the fact that Tennessee, if we look at some of their numbers, they haven't had really anybody touch that this year, but maybe Syracuse. And Syracuse is a team that likes to play fast. So for me, with a Tennessee team that likes to play slow, with a Florida team that's decently, but their offense is legit, I believe the over is the play here. We have 74-73. That's a 147 finish for KenPom, right? And we got a 148.5 total. I think a lot of people are going to be on the under here. I think I saw somebody here on the under here. Yeah, under 148.5 for Jake, whoever he is. 51 units in the last 30 days. Shout out to him. I think the play is the over here. I don't really want to touch this game, if I'm honest. I want to grab it live. I think we can get Florida instead of laying -3. We can just get them on the money line at plus 100 because Tennessee is going to take the lead at some point in this game. Okay, so let's pull out our handy dandy notepad here. Look at our notebook here. I'm going to get like an official notebook for us or something here so we can look like a little bit more profesh, you know? But let's clear out the bet. Look at these leans from yesterday. USF cashed, Minnesota cashed, Wisconsin cashed. I mean, guys, we've been reading the board good. We've been reading the board really well over here. All right, so our first best bet of the day was Arizona -2.5. That was at -105. You could take them on the money line if you want. Parlay them with like Marquette on the money line. Be my guest. Our first lean of the day is going to be the Florida live. Take Florida live. I don't want to lay that -3. I don't want to lay that because I don't like to catch a falling knife, the line movement. But we're also going to lean to the over 148.5 in this game. I just want to touch on that game because I know that's a game that a lot of people like want to bet and want to get action in. I don't think it's the best game to handicap, in all honesty, on the board because of what else is out there. But I just want to give you guys my take. Florida at home, Tennessee on the road. Tennessee has not faced an offense like Florida just yet. Baylor kind of, but look at this. This Illinois game on the road, 66-64. It was a win, but Illinois ain't the Swamp. Illinois ain't the Swamp, and they're not as good offensively as Florida is. So that gives me some confidence to know that like Florida really could win this game outright and could really cover this total and score points. So I want to take the over here, but let's just table that for right now, all right? A few other games that I want us to look at real quickly. Kentucky, Georgia. The line's already moved on this one. Kentucky on the road against Georgia. It's a fishy line. A lot of these lines are short. So please, please, please practice bankroll management. If you have the ability to grab some of these games live, I would do that. I like Kentucky here. Georgia, everybody's on Georgia. Everybody's on Georgia because it's a short line. But the thing is, Georgia hasn't really played anybody. And every time they step up in class, they lose. Ole Miss on the road, true road game, lost by 12. Marquette, neutral floor, they lost. St. John's, they really should have lost this game. I watched this game live. They should have lost this game on a neutral floor. Notre Dame, I was at this game, wasn't really that impressive, all right? Grand Canyon, they were up by like 18 in this game. And this was a semi-home game. I was at this game as well here in Atlanta. Tough game. Ken Palm has this as a loss for Georgia, and I could not agree more. Kentucky coming off of the win against Florida, big win. I get it. It's a letdown spot, and now you're going to a road environment like Georgia, but they've already played Clemson on the road, right? They played Gonzaga in a semi-away game, which basically means this game was in Washington, close to Gonzaga, and they were able to win that game in overtime. They beat Duke on a neutral floor. They're very well coached in Mark Pope. Just overreaction. This is a bet where people are betting the line and not the team. They're watching the game. They're watching the 2.5. How is Georgia only 3.5 point underdogs? And my model says, no. Kentucky's going to win this game. They're the better team. It's a short line. I normally avoid short lines, but we have to do that today. 1 unit down. Kentucky -1.5. Take the money line if you want, but Kentucky has been here before. They played away games. They're 5th in offensive efficiency, 42nd in tempo, but this is the glaring stat. Number 1 in turnover percentage. They don't turn over the ball. If you don't turn over the ball and you're top 50 in effective field goal percentage and 2-point percentage and 3-point percentage, that tells me that the other team has to hit shots. They have to hit shots. And Georgia is not a really good 3-point shooting team. They only have one white boy who can really shoot the ball. Besides that, they don't really have anybody. They turn over the ball a lot. That's what Grand Canyon back into the game. They turn over the ball a lot. And every time they step up in class, I haven't seen anything. Now, maybe when they get this Oklahoma win, they can ride that confidence into Knoxville against Tennessee. But the SEC is tough this year, man. SEC is tough. And this is a great non-conference, kind of wins for them. But they're going to have to pick up some conference wins if they don't expect to be a bubble team. 28th in defensive efficiency is cool, but when you look at some of the offensives they played, is like which offense here really stands out to you besides Marquette? And Marquette's not even, I mean, they're a strong offense, but they don't really shoot a whole lot of threes. They just bully you with it's their defense that leads to their offense, right? Kentucky runs sets. They run the horns. They're a very efficient team. And I'm taking Kentucky here. I like them on the spread. So we've got Kentucky -1.5. You can take them on the money line if you want. We're taking them -1.5. That's -115. I got that out. Arizona -2.5, -105. I would really just get the -1.5 here and just pay -125 or whatever your book has on that. That's just me personally. But for the sake of like action, let's just leave it at that. And then the last game that I really, really like on this board, this Clemson-Louisville game, guys. I lean Clemson +3.5. I think we can get them a little higher live at +5.5, +7.5. So I would do Clemson live. My trigger would be 3 possessions, so that would be +5.5 for me. That would be about my trigger or so. And what do I mean by trigger? So by trigger, what I like to do is I like to set myself a number. So I have 3.5 here. My number here would be 5.5, 6.5 for Clemson. If it's early in the game, I might wait a little bit just to see how the team looks. So this way, if I can get 8.5, 9.5, I might be able to get that. But overall, I do think that Clemson can win this game outright. I like them at +3.5, but I just really wouldn't lay that because that's 2 possessions. Louisville at home, they're going to go on a run. Basketball's a game of runs. They're going to score some points. If you're by your computer, you're by your phone, if you're watching the game live, I will try to snag Clemson live. All right? Last, let's cook up a money line parlay real quick, and then we're going to do our lotto of the day. I think you guys might like my CBB lotto of the day. All right, let me check the comments real quick. Let me just make sure you guys don't have anything in the comments. All right, cool. Real quick. Last game that I really like today, and we're going to do a money line lay. Let's do a money line lay real quick. Let's go down to Baylor, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not a good team. Cincinnati's not a good team. They got exposed by Arizona on Saturday. Back-to-back losses. They were at home in that loss. They lost to Kansas State. K-State is not that good of a team. They lost that game on the road, so it's understandable. This loss to Villanova, I mean, this was when Villanova wasn't even good. Like, I mean, they've kind of figured it out in this stretch here, but this was when Villanova, like, wasn't all that hot, right? And now you've got a Baylor team. 7th in defensive efficiency for Cincinnati, but the problem is offensively. They're 62nd offensive efficiency, which is decent, but look at this. The free throws. Free throws. That will make or break conference games. Don't you think against K-State they missed a few free throws that could have won them that game? Against Arizona, I was watching that game because I had Arizona on the money line. They lost that game because they couldn't hit free throws. Now you place a team like Baylor, 13th in offensive efficiency, 76th in three-point percentage, right? 18th. This is the glaring stat right here. 18th in offensive rebound and possession. They get second chance points. They turn you over. 30th in defensive in turnover percentage, 51st in defensive efficiency, and they're really bad at defending the three-point line. They are. But look, Cincinnati don't shoot a whole lot of threes. They're 123rd in three-point percentage. So I believe that this should work itself out, and Ken Palm has this a 5-point win for Baylor. Following their road loss to Iowa State, I think this is a good bounce back opportunity. You don't want to be 1-2 in conference. You want to win all your home conference games like they were able to do against Utah. And Scott Drew, guys, keep in mind, this is a guy who won a national championship 4 or 5 years ago. He's got a solid team here. VJ Encombe, the freshman from the Bahamas, he's nice. Norcard Amir, the senior transfer from Miami, he's nice. That's one of the reasons why Miami's struggling so much, because he left. This is a very, very good Baylor team. They're going to win at home today. I don't want to play around with the 5.5, 6.5 points. Just take them on the money line, okay? We can go Marquette. I don't like laying -1,000. You can take Marquette first half against Georgetown. This is going to be a very big wake-up spot for Georgetown. I'm just being honest. It's going to be a big wake-up spot for Georgetown. They've never faced this type of team before. But what I do think is we can just keep it real simple. Let's just go Auburn here, -600, and then we can go New Mexico. Let's see, Utah State. Utah State gets us to -108. I like Utah State just a little bit better than New Mexico, just because of the fact that San Jose State has not won like a single conference game. They're 7-9. San Jose State is, but I'm pretty sure they have not won a conference game. Let me see San Jose State. Yeah, 0-4 in conference. Right? Loss, and Utah State, one of the best mid-majors out there in the Mountain West Conference. Very, very, very good team. They lost this game at the last second to UC San Diego, which is another good mid-major team. They're going to travel on the road. They're 4-0 in conference play. They should be able to handle San Jose State. They beat Nevada. They beat St. Mary's. They beat San Diego State. They beat Iowa. I mean, that is a loaded kind of non-conference wins right there. I like Utah State today. So far on the moneyline parlay, we have Baylor, we have Auburn, we have Utah State. It's not plus 100, guys, but it damn near can be. It damn near can be. And just throw that plus 1,000 Marquette in there, right? I know some people don't like to do that. I mean, it hurt us with the Knicks yesterday, but I'm not touching the NBA today. There we go. We get to plus 112. If you don't want to do that, you can take out one of the teams and 3-team it with New Mexico. I'm not opposed to New Mexico here. But for the sake of the parlay, let's just keep it real simple. Let's just throw. You could do Colorado State too. You could do Colorado State. Fresno State's god awful. But I'm just going to throw Marquette in here against Georgetown, plus 112. We're going to go 1 unit down on this, okay? So real quickly, let me show you guys what we have here cooking up on the Action Network here. Follow me at Noble Living if you haven't yet. All right, what's up, Ron? How you doing, big dog? How you doing? We've got Arizona minus 2.5, minus 105. Kentucky minus 1.5, minus 115. And guys, these are a lot of road teams I'm taking. We're rocking with the road phase today. I know that's not a big thing that a lot of people like to do, but I'm doing it. And then we've got our 4-way money. This is our plus 100 parlay of the day. Our money. Baylor is our anchor. Baylor's our anchor. We're building off of Baylor at home. Throw in some other teams that you like. Yesterday, I took the New Jersey Devils in a parlay personally. I didn't put it out because hockey's not really my thing, but it hit. Right? There's a reason why these teams are big favorites. If you want to throw Akron, kind of scares me a little bit because they're inconsistent. You could throw Kent State in there if you want to because Northern Illinois is not a good team. You could throw Toledo in there as well if you want to. Right? That's how I build these parlays. Last leg that I want to give you guys real quickly is one play that I was looking at is this Pittsburgh and Duke over 143.5. I circled that on my notebook earlier, and the reason why I did that is Pittsburgh can score the ball. Now, Duke, I think we're getting value here because you can see the third best defensive team in college basketball in terms of points per game allowed. 60 points per game allowed. But if we go to scoring points per game, Pitt is 19th, 84 points per game that they're scoring. But now let's go to some of their recent game logs. Let's see what they've been doing recently, right? They dropped 75 against Wisconsin on a neutral floor. Let's see. 86 against Cal, 83 against Stanford. Now, KenPom has this a 78-66 loss for them, so that would put us at 141. That's hovering around the number there. Duke is good. Their defense is legit. They force you to take tough shots. But I think in conference, what scares me here is look at the caliber of offenses that Duke has faced lately. SMU, not that good. Virginia Tech's definitely not good. Georgia Tech is not good. George Mason's not a strong offense. Louisville's okay. They beat Auburn. They only give up 78 points to Auburn. They were home in that matchup. So that, for me, gives me a little bit of like, should I stay off of this total here, right? But when I look at Pittsburgh here, we've got the 17th ranked in offensive efficiency, 21st in effective field goal percentage, 30th in turnover percentage, 73rd in three-point percentage, 19th in two-point percentage. And Duke, they're strong defensively. You see all the defensive numbers right here, right? You see all the defensive numbers. But I look at their offensive numbers as well. So this could be a game where they beat Pittsburgh 80-65. And if they do that, we get to 145 and we're over our number here. And if you look at the team total real quick, they got them at 78.5. So there's something in this total that's really got my attention. So maybe you guys tap into me on Twitter, but I want to say I lean over 143.5 here in Duke and Pitt. and I lean one of the team totals. I want to give it to Pitt just because it's so low at 64.5, but Duke could easily get to 80 points as well. Duke could easily get to 80 points as well. So let me just put the money line lay here real quick. Plus 108, I think we got on that. So that's a little bit of a game that might be a little bit of a toss up. I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that one, but while I think on that real quick, let's just craft our Hail Mary of the day, our lotto. All right, it's going to be ugly. We're taking St. John's on the road against Xavier. I don't like Xavier. I don't think they're a good team this year. They have a lot of issues there. I Fremantle, everything runs through him, and St. John's is one of those teams that can really, contend with them. And just they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Some of these games have been at home. Seton Hall's not that good, so seeing that win is not that impressive. That UConn game, they played hard in that game, but that was the first game to start the conference, and UConn's gonna get everybody's best blow. But St. John's is legit. They are legit. They just beat Butler. They had a tough road loss to Creighton a few games before that. This is a good, solid team. I think St. John's can get the win on a short line at home. Our second leg is going to be, I like Georgia Tech here, but I'm going to stay off that game just because as a Syracuse fan, I can see that going either way. We're going to go, hold on. We're going to go Kansas State against Oklahoma State. Let's look at this real quick. Kansas State against Oklahoma State. Kansas State, they've lost 4 of their last 5 as well, right? It looks bad. It does look bad. But Oklahoma State is not good. It is not good. It is a very, very weak schedule here. FAU, terrible loss, right? Oklahoma, I was on Oklahoma State in this game, and they got smacked. They got smacked by Houston. They got smacked by West Virginia. Now they come home. Stillwater's a very tough place to play, but I think Kansas State, the thing that really is alarming with Oklahoma State is 173rd on the offensive side of the ball. 279 effective field goal percentage, 233 in turnover percentage. Yeah, they grab offensive rebounds. They can't score. They can't score. And, I mean, Kansas is not a whole lot better themselves, but they're 89 in defensive efficiency. And it's hard for me to bet on a team that just can't put the ball in the hoop consistently. And that's Oklahoma State. And if you don't have a Houston-type caliber defense, I don't want anything to do with you. So I'm just going to go K-State at plus 115. I think they win this game outright, and I like that. I'm going to take BYU minus 150 against Texas Tech. BYU back at home after their previous game loss to Houston. We were on Houston in that matchup on Saturday. Now they face a Texas Tech team. Ken Palm has this as a loss for BYU, but I don't agree with that because this loss to UCF at home is terrible to me. Did you guys see UCF last night? Like that's terrible to me. A&M, St. Joe's, every time they've stepped up in class, Texas Tech they've dropped the ball. Now, don't get me wrong. This is going to be an NCAA team, number 1 in effective field goal percentage, number 10 in offensive efficiency. That's great. But BYU, that's tough. Maybe the over might be a play here. Because both of these teams can score the ball. What's the total? 149? Maybe 149. Let me put that in the notepad real quick. I think that's one that we could look at. One over 149.5. What is that? BYU and Tech. But I'm gonna take BYU at home. I'm just gonna give the advantage to the home team here. So that gets us about plus 450, 546 there. And there's one more that I'm gonna look at crafting here to maybe get us to plus 1,000. And that's Mississippi State against Vanderbilt. I love the run that Vanderbilt has gone on. Beautiful, beautiful run. Beautiful run. But as somebody who lived in Tennessee and Nashville for several years, I love to see a program like Vanderbilt do well. But this is their first true team that they're playing that's some dogs. Like, this is a team. Mississippi State, led by Chris Jans, this team is some dogs, bro. Look at this. Beat Memphis on the road. Beats, SMU on the road. Neutral floor win against UNLV. This was a bad loss to Butler, but they beat Pitt, a very strong team. McNeese, a very good mid-major. They beat them as well. This is a very, very strong Mississippi State team. They've won 7 straight games. Both of these teams are 13-1. Something has to give. It is a conference matchup. A great win for Vanderbilt against LSU, but LSU really blew that game because they had a lot of turnovers late, and Vanderbilt was able to come back. But New Orleans, Austin Peay, Citadel, Virginia Tech, even TCU, none of these teams are that impressive. I'm being honest. And Nevada's looking worse and worse by the day because they just lost 4 straight. So that win is not that impressive to me. So knowing that they lost to I'm not saying Drake is a D2 team, but they're full of D2 team players. This is their first true test for Vanderbilt. Shout out to Mario Binghamton, what he's been able to do with them boys over there, and which is more of an academic school than a athletic school. But I like this 4-teamer. We're gonna go St. John's on the money line, Kansas State on the money line, BYU on the money line, Mississippi State on the money line. That gets you to plus 1,000. We're gonna put 25, a quarter of a unit down on that. And that's what we're locking in. All right, my friends. So officially for us today on the free 3, we've got Kentucky minus 1.5, Arizona minus 2.5. Our plus 100 parlay of the day is Baylor minus 240. And then we've got Auburn, Utah State, and Marquette just to be able to bump us up to plus value. But Baylor is the main pillar there. And then our Hail Mary, our plus 1,000 10x lay of the day, St. John's, Kansas State, BYU, Mississippi State to get it done. We're going with a lot of road teams today, my friends. We're expecting the road teams to get it done. And if you want some of my other leans real quickly, you could, I was trying to zoom in real quick, but let me just make this real big for you guys. We've got Florida. I'm going to grab them live. My trigger is live plus money on the money line, plus Chicky on the money line. That is my live trigger. Okay, let me put live trigger plus money line. And then I also lean the over 148.5. I like Clemson live. My trigger on them is at 5.5, 6.5 or higher. They're taking on Louisville on the road. I like Duke and Pitt. I lean over 143.5, but I really think that the plays Pitt's team total over 64.5 or Duke's team total. One of those two, but I do lean the over here. And I do like this BYU, Texas Tech over 149.5. Both of those teams are very strong offensively. That's what I'm looking at for today's College Basketball Tuesday card. A few other games that you may want to look at. St. Mary's, if you want to add them in your money line parlay, be my guest. I like them. This is a trap game for me. I don't want to touch Boise State. I do think New Mexico wins. I do like this is going to be a great game to watch. I don't really have a read on Michigan and UCLA. Both teams play a very similar style of ball. I think that's going to be interesting to see. Let me just give you guys my last few takes here. UNC, I'm not touching them with the 12-foot pole just because they're so inconsistent. I don't know why necessarily Mizzou is getting these many points at home. So that's why I'm staying off that game. Colorado State should get the win. This is going to be a good high-scoring affair between Nebraska and Iowa. The total's got to be 150, up 160. The total's got to be high there. You could lean the over there just because such a high total. I expect that to be a whole lot of three-pointers. And then you guys got Arizona already. I do lean Georgia Tech as a Syracuse fan. I do lean Georgia Tech here, in all honesty. And that is it for me on the college basketball slate for today. Real quick, I got about 2 minutes. Let me just look at NBA real fast. If you want to put the Rockets on the money line in your parlay instead of Marquette, I'm not afraid. I'm not opposed to that, but I just told myself personally that I'm not taking any more money line in the NBA for like the next few days just to chill out. I do like the Suns minus 4.5 on the road against the Hornets. Bradley Beal coming off the bench could actually be good for the Suns. I know it's not popular, and I know he's probably gonna get traded in February around the deadline if he waives his no trade clause. But he looked good last night off the bench. His line, 14.5 Lake Show. I think he's playing with he's playing for an audition in a way. He's like, y'all bench me? That's what y'all niggas want to do? Okay. And if you don't value me, because I think he said he's going to waive his no-trade clause for the Lakers, for the Heat, and I think he said, like, the Warriors, I want to say. I don't remember the third team. It was like 3 or 4 teams. But he's playing right now for, like, hey, if the Suns want to take me off the bench, then you guys should trade for me. I think the Beal at 14.5 points, let's add that to the lean sheet real quick. Let's add that to the lean sheet. Beal Why is it not big? Whatever. Beal over 14.5 points. I'm trusting you on that, Just K. I haven't looked at the line, so I'm trusting you that that's the accurate line there. I like the Lake Show today. I do like the Lake Show. You asked about the Lake Show. I do like Lake Show today. I do like Lake Show. Just because of the injuries that the Mavericks are dealing with. No Kyrie. No, obviously no Luca. Let's scroll down real quickly here to look at some of these injuries. Yeah, their guards are just banged up heavy. But for me, this is a live trigger game just because like what am I doing laying 7 points to the Lakers? I mean, the Mavs are gonna keep it close at some point in the game. We should be able to get 3.5, 4.5 under one bucket. So I'm not opposed to that. But I just don't want to lay 7 points if I'm being honest with you. If I was gonna do like a money line kind of like play here, I'd run it back with the Wolves, even though they're second out of a back to back because the Pelicans are awful. I would put the Lake Show in there. I'd put the Suns in there. I would put the Rockets in there. Don't want to trust this game. Don't care to touch this game, even though I do lean the under here. And I don't want to touch the Warriors. But coming off a double OT loss for the Heat, I do lean the Warriors. But, I mean, those three teams get you to plus 264. That ain't really doing too much for us for four teams-wise. But if we were going to do a plus 100, why don't we do Lake Show minus 260, Rockets, I guess it's minus 170. Lake Show minus 260. And then if we take out the Rockets, we're just not getting no value on them. It's hard to trust the Lakers on the road. It is. And it's hard to trust the Wolves. I don't trust them niggas for shit. Like they almost lost. If Ant didn't hit those 2 threes at the end of the game yesterday, they would have lost that shit for sure. I think the Celtics can lose today, in all honesty. Yeah, like the Hawks, the Jazz suck. The Jazz suck, but the problem with the Hawks is they play no defense. Let's look at this team total real quick. 121.5. My lord. Let's look at the numbers. 18 and 15 to the over, 24 and 12 to the over, 13, 11. Yeah, they're more of an under team at the home. The Jazz are. That's not giving me too much. That's not giving me too much value. So why don't we go the Suns? I'm gonna go the Suns on the money line. Lake Show on the money line. Plus 115. Lake Show Suns. That's our NBA lay of the day. I'm going to throw the Rockets in there because I'm a degen and I just want the extra value because they're not losing to the Wizards. And if they do, I'm going to break something. But we're just going to add that as our plus 150. That's not bad. Lakers, Suns, Rockets, plus 150. That's not bad. That's what we're locking in today, my friends. That's all that we've got on the card. Screenshot this real quick so you guys can get that. All the plays that we've locked in. Officially, I'll add a few player props a little bit. I'll add a few more player props when we get a little bit more information.